Hey Swifties, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Simone if you're new here, and I make videos all about Taylor Swift because I am a huge Swiftie. And it feels like there is a lot going on at the moment. So we just got a new interview from Taylor for the New York Times as one of the 30 best songwriters alive, of course, which we will get into. But first, so much clownery is going on about the cloud countdown. So the Toy Story 5 and Debutation theories were the most popular. Mine is definitely leaning more towards Debutation, or that somebody made a mistake and that it is Toy Story. And some Swifties are saying the Kentucky Derby could have been the reason for this, but I don't think they went to it. Has it passed? I don't know. I'm not up to date. Anyway, personally, I was very much on board the Toy Story 5 theory. And yeah, or that she is pointing us to Debutation, but yeah, nothing has happened yet, so we really don't know what's going on. Is someone getting fired for putting up the countdown too early, because maybe it should have only been like June, just before the release of Toy Story, or just before they made the cast or the soundtrack public. Yeah, like what is going on? Anyway, so let's actually get into the New York Times interview, because I feel like the whole Toy Story thing is kind of up in the air. There was literally the outfit that was like super Toy Story coded, and I mean the clouds and like the yellow, so who knows? I don't know what's going on.
So first of all, I don't know what's going on.
It's just, yeah. It's one of those great Swiftie mysteries that maybe we will never know. And that's kind of scary, because that might be added to the list of things keeping Swifties up at night. But who knows? Yeah, maybe this is like the repeat of the 5 holes in the fence. Like maybe this is going to be one of those things that we look back at and we're just like we still don't know. Anyway, Taylor hopefully will give us an answer eventually. I really think maybe she is voicing a character or doing a song, or the whole soundtrack, some people are saying, or maybe it's because Toy Story is releasing on the same day as Tim McGraw originally came out, so I don't know, maybe it is pointing towards debut. And it's like the whole cowboy thing of it all, like Woody and Jesse, and like, I don't know, it's some people are really saying like it would be awesome if Taylor did a song from Jesse's perspective, like that would be really cool. I don't know, I'm not up to date with the whole Toy Story franchise. Like I fell off at like Toy Story 2. That's about my Toy Story knowledge. Like I think I've seen 3 or 4, like with the bear, the evil bear. Is it an evil bear? But yeah, I feel like movies kind of lose their something like at around the second movie. Like they should just stop. But I don't know. I can't say that the other Toy Story movies aren't good because I haven't seen them. So I don't know. Don't ask me. But anyway, okay. Let's get into what this video is actually about. So obviously we are here to talk about the New York Times interview.
When it gets a little bit weird for me is when people act like it's sort of like a paternity test. Like, this song's about that person, because I'm like, that dude didn't make the song like it.
What's a girl gonna do? A diamond's gotta shine.
I love the interview so much. How about you? We got a lot of insights into Taylor's songwriting again. And I mean, bits of pieces we've heard before. but there was definitely some interesting things here, and I kind of felt called out, as I think a lot of us were, for paternity testing her songs, as she put it. I mean, that's a debate because she's like, she kind of started it in the first place, and it does sometimes feel like she does want us to know who it's about, and she does kind of give a lot of clues as to who it's about, and she mentions details that we would know from like photos and like events. So I don't know, Taylor. I don't know why she said that. But she's always going on about it. But then, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe it's a sign that she wants to move away from that kind of Easter egging. And I mean, in the New Heights interview, she also said that she doesn't Easter egg her personal life. But then, I mean, from the beginning, that was kind of her thing. I don't know, maybe she wants us to take it a bit more seriously and kind of, yeah, move away from doing that. But it's so difficult because it does kind of point to who it's about. It's kind of difficult not to make the conclusion, if you know what I mean. But I think there's levels of weird, and I think she's talking about the people who take it way too far. Like, the people who actually insist that this song is about this person, and then they give all of the reasons why it is about this person, and they go absolutely crazy if you say like it's if you say your like interpretation, and they focus so much on who the song is about that they don't focus on what the song is about, you know. And that's kind of what I think Taylor means, because she's like, I wrote that song, you know, and it's her story, and it's something that can help you through your own life. Like, don't get stuck on who the song is about. Like, that's interesting. Briefly, you can like go through that, but then I think what's really important is what the song can mean to you, like making it your own. Like she said in the Eras tour, like she hopes that we will take these songs and kind of make them their own and think about the memories that we made because of these songs. And that's really what her songs have been to me all my life. Like way before I was into like the whole crazy fandom of it all, I was listening to the songs and interpreting them to my own life. So I had no idea who they were about, and I really didn't care. Anyway, now I'm pretty deep into that, but it's like, I don't know, it still doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, either way. Yeah, I think she just doesn't want people to dissect her songs to the level where it's like, this is all that matters about the song, because it really doesn't. It's not like she's trying to put the song out there so we will know who it's about, so we will kind of like shame those people, and we will kind of like just go into these rabbit holes about why she chose to write the song about them. Like that's weird. Like I think she just wants us to take the songs and make them our own, because that's why she writes them in the first place, and like as a cathartic kind of thing. So it's not about the person, it's about what the song is about, the healing that the song can bring, the experience that she went through with this person, and how that can help you in your own life with your own experiences. Yeah, that's just my take on it. So let's get into the actual interview. I love how she said she's still trying to understand the writing experience, but will never fully understand it, because that's just how writing works. It's something that just takes over you, and it's something that I relate to very strongly as a writer myself. It's like when she talks about basically a song just showing up as this kind of intrusive thought, or lyric or melody. It's like something that you don't have any control over, and I really relate to that, and I love that. And it's a very difficult thing to describe to somebody who maybe doesn't have that kind of brain or just experience in general. But that's how my brain works as well. So I really felt seen, and I love that. And I love that she kind of affirms that sometimes you just have to let the story happen. Like you can't always fully plan it. I love that. I also love how she kind of described the feeling of hyper fixating on every detail of a relationship when you're younger, or like an experience. It kind of validated a lot of my own experiences, I guess, and made me feel less weird for it. Because, I mean, that's something we tend to do. We tend to focus on the details of something. A lot of us. Yeah, maybe it's just a thing that all of us do, because yeah, that's how we remember it. Like the smell of something, the feeling of something, a texture. Like, and even years later, you can, like, a smell or just something small can take you back to, like, years of memories. Like, for example, I associate a certain scent with my grandmother, and every time I smell that scent, I remember her and things that we did. And it's not that I don't usually remember her, it's just like that really strongly evokes it. So I think that's kind of what she's talking about here. Like how certain experiences that you had with your senses, like things that you observed, can take you right back into that moment. And she loves to write that way, and she's really good with that. And I would say All Too Well is a very good example of that. And I think she said now that she's older, she doesn't really do that anymore, which is true. She doesn't really write like in super detail. Sometimes she really does. Like, I mean, if you think about tortured poets, and like a Showgirl is definitely a little bit less detail oriented, but I think that she still really does that. And I think when you're younger, especially, you try to remember every single detail of everything, like, of a relationship. Every nuance, every moment is like the super important thing. But when you get older, you don't hyperfixate on every single thing that somebody says or does or wears or whatever. It's just like, it's not important anymore, kind of. You kind of realize it's like the small everyday things that make up a relationship, but you're not going to like, oh, what were they wearing? Like, you know, it's not the same kind of thing anymore. And I think the reason that your brain does that is it's trying to find like hidden meanings in everything someone says or does. And then as you get older and you realize it's really not that intense. And I think that happens when you're kind of in a stage where you're like very obsessed with somebody, like when you're in love, you know, and it's like you don't really know how they feel, so you're like afraid that they might stop feeling that way, so you become like so fixated on every little thing that they say or do, in case you forget it later and in case they didn't really feel that way. It's such a weird thing. And I think it's those details that she always like focuses on, as she says, that allows her to paint such a vivid image of her experiences and make it so relatable, because I think we all do that in a way. But she is correct to say that when you get older, you just don't really do that anymore. At least for me, I don't know. I don't know how it's to you that might be getting older, or if you're a younger person listening to this, or you're still like hyper fixated on every single detail of something. Like, I can honestly tell you, you can relax. Like, you don't need to remember everything. Like, honestly. So you just take in the whole of something and the whole of a relationship. You don't need to like hyper fixate on everything anymore. And I think she's also probably like super disciplined to remember the details. Like, I'm sure she like writes it down, and she's the kind of person that will literally remember a fan like years and years later. Like how she said on the Eras tour about her fan, like, I literally knew you since you were a baby, and like that's insane. Yeah, and I think she really goes out of her way to remember things. And I think that's why she's really good with people, because she memorizes things kind of instantly. And yeah, that's something that I've really learned from her, is to really make a point of remembering the small things about somebody, because it really shows that you care. And it can really be a sign that, and it's not always about hyperfixating for yourself, it's sometimes to really be able to do something nice for somebody else because you really remember everything that they tell you, and you make a point, even if you have to write it down, like make a point to remember things about people, because that's really how you build relationships, and it's really how you show that you care, and then it becomes a skill rather than like an obsession to help people. Yeah, I wonder if she has like a notebook where she kind of like writes down little details about people that she doesn't want to forget, or about experiences, kind of like a diary. Or maybe she has the notes thing in her phone, how she writes songs and And then she mentions these things later. It's very interesting. She didn't mention that, but I would like to know. She also talked about kind of debut a lot, basically talking about her roots and her early influences. She talked again about why she loves country so much, like in the long form sessions where she talks about why she loves The Last Great American Dynasty so much is because it's got this plot twist that's kind of used a lot in country music. She was like, she had to stop herself from going like, from just grinning from ear to ear every night on the Eras tour when she sang that line, "Then it was bought by me." She was so happy with that hook. But I mean, we could see she was like so happy with it, and she could at least be very playful with it. And I think that's why it feels emotional to us as well, because she is so invested in it, and so we are invested in it. And it's not just a line in a song to her, it's this whole dynamic of a storyline that she has put her heart and soul into. She wants us to feel like it's a story that you read, as she mentioned as well.
I think this is my opening. I think this is my moment. I think I can write the Rebecca Harkness story.
That song is such a folklore moment to me because it's not about you, but it is all about you.
Well,
And
it's that
like,
country music kind of narrative device where in country music it's like, this guy did this, then this woman did this, then they met, and their kid was me.
Totally,
like,
And I was that man that I've been talking about.
Like, which is the best. It's like you listen to country songs and you're just like shivers everywhere, my whole body.
Yeah, I love how she mentions that she wants her songs to feel like books. That's essentially why she is Taylor Swift and why I love her songs so much and why she's such a great songwriter. That's like, that really captures the essence of it, because her songs feel like stories, like entire movies in a few short minutes. And I love how she's never really deviated from that. In fact, I think it's just gotten stronger as she's gone along. And that's why I love her songs so much, because I'm always saying, like, if somebody asks me why I love Taylor Swift, it's because her songs are like stories. And out of so many artists out there, she's one of the only ones that I really feel like her songs are actually stories, and they're such relatable stories. And it really dives into human emotion and like how we feel and experiences, and I think that's why she's brilliant. And a lot of pop songs kind of lack that to me. They don't have detail, they're just kind of like, yeah, you know what I mean. So just, yeah, to be honest, I just don't relate to most mainstream pop songs out there. And back in the day, liking Taylor was kind of not very poppy. It was not kind of the mainstream thing to do, because her songs have so much substance, you know. It's not just a song that you put on in the background and you just leave it there. It's an experience. It's an emotional experience, and it's healing. And I love that. And yeah, I love how country was her first influence. I think that's exactly what it needed to be, because I think that really shaped her and it gave her a very strong foundation in songwriting. She also mentioned that a thing that she does that we love, she brings back the first line at the end of a song. Usually that's literally a tearjerker moment, and she really kind of explained why. And it's always happening to me when I listen to her songs, and it's kind of because of the nostalgia, because you go through this whole story and then she brings you back to the beginning and you're like, oh, and this is because now everything is kind of tied together, and then it just makes you kind of want to cry because it's come full circle.
Take a deep breath, girl. Take a deep breath as you walk through the doors.
And yeah, I think that's awesome. And she also said something interesting that I didn't know, is that she was heavily inspired by kind of emo music, which is not kind of my thing, but it makes sense, especially for like Speak Now. And she was also kind of gripped by the lyrics, and that's where she got the inspo for a lot of her writing style. So I think it's like she has this kind of solid foundation of a strong country structure to write songs, while having this emo kind of emotional lyrics and gripping lyrics, which are a lot of the time autobiographical and confessional. I mean, that really sounds like a winning song recipe to me, to be honest, because it speaks to the generation that grew up with her, and it uses a solid song structure that seems to be lacking, as I said, in most pop music. and it tells an emotional, complete story or instance. So this totally gave me like a new insight into why her songs are so good. And this is also very inspirational for new songwriters, and we can really learn from that. I also didn't know that she went into songwriting sessions like while she was still in school. She talked about even then going in prepared, which is absolutely amazing. Even at 14 years old, she had the drive. I mean, there just isn't that many people like this out there, and I think that is why she is where she is today. Even though she looked like this sweet country girl, she was really driven and business-minded from a very young age, and she knew what she wanted. She had excellent work ethic, and she went for it. And I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from. And that's the thing that always stands out for me about Taylor, is her determination and not having any shame or like guilt about what she wanted and going for it, and not downplaying it, not having imposter syndrome. She was always like, this is what I want and I'm going to work for it. And I think that's very admirable. It's just such an amazing quality, and I've always admired that about her so much, as someone who does actually have a lot of imposter syndrome most of the time. But anyway, I digress. And then also I loved her calling out the people who hated on Reputation, and the people who slept on it when it came out, and now they pretend that they love it. And that they've always loved it, and that's just not true. I love how she said that she loved it when it came out, and she's like, go with God, I don't care. Like, she didn't care, she knew it was brilliant.
I loved the Reputation album. I was like, you guys say what you want. I know what I did. I love it. Like, go with God, sorry. I wanted to like headbang myself through a wall.
Even though we did kind of have her kind of being very upset that it didn't like get nominated for a Grammy, but I think she was very proud of it.
You are not nominated.
I just need to make a better record.
And I think she had to work through a lot with Reputation, because even when she told us that she wasn't going to give us the re-recording because it was just too difficult to re-record, and I think that's because of who it's about and what it's about, and I really get that. And I think there's a lot with Reputation that she had to kind of work through and process, but now she's like, I love it, I don't care what you feel about it. And that's also another thing that I really love about Taylor. She doesn't shy away from her brilliance. She embraces it, but she's very humble about it, and I feel like that is kind of true humility. She doesn't put herself and her talent down for the sake of others. She doesn't downplay herself, or out of fear that people would think she's like egotistical or whatever. She stands up for it because she knows that she's good, and she owns it, and she's proud of it. And why is there something wrong with that? And I think we can all learn from that. She admits she knows how good she is, but she does it in a way that is still profoundly humble and never with arrogance. And I think we can all learn lessons from that, and I love her so much for that. It's really something that's very rare in today's day and age, and I think she's giving a message to so many of us that it's okay to be confident about our gifts, that we need to use them, that people need them, but we can still be humble, and we can still do that in humility and love and with a kind of softness. And that's exactly what she has, and I think she just has this. That's what everybody says about her. She's so kind, she's so humble, she makes you feel like the most important person in the room. And even though she's this huge star, she's always been that way, and I think she always kept that, and that's what really sets her apart from so many others who just have these careers and just kind of misuse it, or they just fall into the dark side, and they're just so egotistical. And yeah, just most of Hollywood I do not appreciate. But Taylor is somebody I will always support and appreciate, because she's never changed. She just stays the same, and she stays humble, and I like that. That's just my little rant. And she talked about kind of knowing when something is great, and this feeling she gets when writing it. And she said that a lot of her time, her instinct does kind of line up with people are going to love this. I'm not really sure about that, because a lot of the time people don't love what she puts out, but that's on them, as she said, like, she doesn't care. And obviously They don't always love it immediately, but in time people do, yeah, I think that's the thing, people do in time actually come to realize how brilliant something is that she did. And I mean, just look at how people came around with Tortured Poets, literally apologizing a few months later about their first reviews of it, and Ripped, and now even like Showgirl. They always realize in hindsight that they had it wrong, not Taylor, and I'm still standing by that for Showgirl as well, because people will still see the light, people are not getting it, but someday they will. She talked about how even when she wrote Love Story, she didn't care like if her parents were mad about it, she didn't care like what anybody thought, she just knew it was good, it was so good, and she was so passionate about it. And I mean, greatest love song ever made, like my fave for sure. So yeah, I don't really know of anyone who doesn't at least like it. So yeah, I would argue it's literally her most famous song. I love what she said here. It's so funny. I love that she gets I love that look she gets when she's being so unserious, but kind of offering wisdom. She's like, I think the first time I felt like I don't care if people hate this because I love it so much was when I wrote the song Love Story when I was 17, sitting in my bedroom mad at my parents because they wouldn't let me go on a date with a guy who was too old, so I shouldn't have been on a date with him anyway. And this is why you need to discipline your kids, because they might write songs that go #1. I love that. She's so funny. She also talked about writing Speak Now from a place of wanting to show that she writes all of her own songs, which we knew. She silenced the critics for the most part, and I think nobody ever really said anything about it ever again because they were silenced. I love that as someone who was also writing from a young age, and older people might not have believed that I wrote that, but I also didn't care because I knew who was writing it and that I was writing it, and Taylor had the self-efficacy and the belief to do that as well.
I wrote everything by myself. Well, the album is called Speak Now.
And I love that when she said when she collabs, but it's not, that she does collab, but it's not something she needed. Like, preach, obviously. Like, we know it. I think most of us to this day get super excited when a song is entirely written by Taylor herself. Like, we need another solo rights album. Can you imagine that like, in the next few years? That would be next level, and I think it would be amazing. She talked about developing her intuition as a writer, and that having co-writers is so important for that, because she could just write from the stream of consciousness and like just want to write everything, while they would kind of provide some guidance about what to edit out. She mentioned Liz Rose and Jack Antonoff, again, beef squashed, what I wouldn't give to be in a writing session with Taylor. Oh my gosh. She talked about her language tricks that she loves to use, which we know something that immediately comes to mind is I Wish You Would, which is like alliteration. I really think that song is very slept on and so catchy because of the alliteration. I'm just a language nerd, so Taylor talking about the language tricks she likes to use and how she turned talk real low into talk real slow, because she doesn't like the next word to end on the same letter as the preceding word. That's so genius. But we were all always wondering, why is it talk real slow? Because if it's late at night, you would talk real low, not talk real slow. But it doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense now why she did that. And it's genius. And it kind of does scratch an itch in your brain to talk real slow. It's like, it just does. Language is amazing. I could talk about it forever. I love how she likes to turn a famous phrase into something else. I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, Lover is one of the best examples. The bridge of Lover is like, my heart's been borrowed and yours has been blue. All's well that ends well to end up with you. Like the whole bridge is just her doing that. And I think that song is also very slept on. Because Lover is like, no, well, a lot of people like Lover, but it's like, they just don't see how amazing it is. Anyway, and it's usually in the bridge where she likes to do that thing, and it's something that just makes me tick, and I love it, and it feels so exciting. I don't know, maybe I'm just such a nerd. She also said that she loves using polarity and juxtaposition in songs because we all have a lot of polarity and hypocrisy. And I love that she cuts to the core of stuff, and she's so good at explaining like our emotions and the nuances of people. I love this part. I have my phone and I have this file where I'll just be like, I know I like that, or I know I like that word, or I know I like that question. Then we'll go into a session. I don't have social media on my phone. Like, wow, commend you. It looks like I'm endlessly scrolling, but I'm scrolling through the words in my files. If we're in the middle of writing a song, I'm searching for a perfect line that I thought of 4 years ago at 3 a.m. in the morning. Wow. I just really want to see that list. Like, can we someday just get like an overview of the list, or just like a short video or something? And we can also learn from Taylor not to have social media on our phones. I'm just not good at that. And then obviously she talked about bridges, which she is the master constructor of. No one in history has ever built a bridge like Taylor Swift. It's her thing. We just all die for a Taylor bridge, especially like the rant bridge that they talked about. She explained the bridge is like a full picture of what the song is trying to convey, like the zoomed out view. I love that. That's so true. Like, I'd never thought about it like that. I just took so many notes throughout this interview about how to write songs, and it's so inspirational, and I think this is going to help me so much in my own writing. So if you're a writer, take tips. Like, literally, if you're not taking notes on everything that Taylor Swift says, like, what are you doing? She specifically talked about rant bridges, and I think as Swifties, those are just our favorites. And it was actually, I think, Olivia Rodrigo who first mentioned the concept of a rant bridge. That she loved Taylor's rant bridges, and we really need that to let out our emotions, and she's just so good at capturing that. And I love how Taylor doesn't shy away from big emotions, and it's something that we all need to do more, because it helps you to process things in a healthy way. And she talked about being a mirror to the public again, and I think she mentioned it in her Stephen Colbert interview. I can't remember which one it was. And that they will project their own insecurities onto you, which is something, unfortunately, that we all do. Not just with Taylor, but like with people in our lives and vice versa. Yeah, we just all do that to each other, and something we can definitely work on. And yeah, but people very much do that to Taylor. Despite that, she's still trying to make art and shine for the people that get it and that can reflect with her on stuff, that understand what she is being a mirror to. That want to process that and let go of the painful emotions. And I love the thing where she's like, a public person who makes art is a mirrorball. It's just the truest thing, because art is usually a reflection of kind of the public psyche at the time, at the given time period, and the artist is usually someone who is able to capture that in a way that inspires people to look at it maybe through a different lens, or that's more thought-provoking. Or that's just healing, and sometimes it offers insight, new perspective, and especially healing. I think it's truly her fascination with people, the human experience and emotions that enables her to write in a way that speaks to us. She's interested in serving the greater good, not just her own stories, and that's why she's able to put something out into the public, even if it's embarrassing at first. And she talks about sometimes being worried about oversharing, but she will just know that she needs to share this because someone else might need it, and I relate so much to that. I wish everyone was that brave, and I wish I was that brave, because sometimes I do know that I've gone through so much in my life that could help people, and someday I will put it out there. But Taylor is just like, she's not afraid anymore to just say what she needs to say. And there are some songs that are really good examples of this, especially Mirrorball, but Daddy I Love Him, all those kind of songs. And it's what makes Taylor so unique and different, I think, is that she doesn't share these things to be like, oh, look at me, look at my talent, here's a diss song about someone. She's sharing things out of a place of wanting to help and heal others through her own experiences and stories, and that's a huge difference. It's the intention. And it's exactly what she said here. I've never been a natural, all I do is try. And she said, I remember writing that and being like, oh my gosh, this, I feel like, do I want to say this? And I'm like, actually, I feel like a lot of people feel that way. And that always overrides my discomfort with if a line feels too true, because I don't really think that there's anything that's too true. And that's so true. yeah, I love that so much, and I commend her for doing that because we literally need her to do that. And yeah, I love her purpose. I love it so much. And then also about 10 Minute Mention, because of course an interview about her songwriting would be just remiss without an also about 10 Minute Mention. I think we all consider it like her best song ever. I don't think she's ever talked about like how she had to piece it together from like notes and entries because she didn't have the original recording anymore. I think she previously told us that she did, but now she's kind of opening up that she had to go through this whole process of kind of like piecing it all back together because she kind of lost the original recording that she once told us about, which kind of led to us wanting it. So I think it's probably a bit different, and it's probably not like what she sang at that time, but she did an amazing job, and I think she captured the essence of what it was supposed to be. And I think it's really, because Autobahn really does feel like someone going back, revisiting something that happened years ago, and that's kind of what the short film also shows. So I don't think she just took the original recording and she just edited it a little. Like, I think she remembered some of it and she went back through like lines and notes and like all these notes that she does say she keeps and like diary entries and whatever, and she kind of pieced it together in that way, and that's kind of what she's explaining. But she did an amazing job, and it ended up being like exactly what it needed to be, like, for sure. I never thought that she did write it like in that time that Red came out, because some of the phrases are like not relevant to the time, so I don't know. And she's like, she made the mistake of talking about it, like, for sure. Like, I think Taylor has had to learn over the years to not tell us anything. Yet here we are, because she still does. Oh, and I think I mentioned earlier about how she talked about, like, just songs basically appearing in her mind. Like, I love that because I relate to it. And I think she also talked about all the different ways of songwriting, and I think each of them have their own place. She talked about sometimes the song will just come into her head, like out of nowhere. Sometimes she'll be in a conversation like how Elizabeth Taylor happened. We all know the story about that. Sometimes she will just wake up in the middle of the night with like this obsessive phrase and she will just have to write it down. Sometimes she will be in a session and write. Sometimes she will write to a track that somebody's already written. But like, just the genius of Taylor of hearing a track with no words and then just knowing what this has to be about. I love that so much. And that's why she's amazing. And she talks about criticism sometimes being the best way to write because it's like a prompt. And I love that so much. And she began to do that like pretty early on in her career. And I think we can all learn from that. She's like, don't pay attention to the trolls in your comments. Why aren't you making art about it? Speak. She also shows again that she is just so humble, like I said, and she's always wanting to be challenged and to grow. She was like, she will never only pick her ideas in a session, like she wants ideas from everybody. Like, it's not my idea wins, it's the best idea wins, because otherwise she's not going to grow. And I think that's also something we can all learn from. Like, this interview has so much wisdom. Like, if you watch interviews with Taylor and like her NYT commencement speech, and like, there's so much wisdom in every single song. Like, she's just wise. And even though she's built this solid songwriting process and structure and has all the awards and knows what she's doing, she still wants to learn and grow. And that's the attitude that you really should have. And I think that's why we all really love and admire her, because she's not full of herself. Like, she's just not. And I don't care who says she is, but she's just not. She knows that she's good at this, but she keeps herself humble and she tries to grow and learn. And I love that. She also called out like randomly people ranting on Instagram for no reason versus creating art from problems. And I think that's also very wise. And I think that's why we don't see Taylor ranting about things on public platforms like some other celebs would do. She's very wise in that way, very self-controlled. It's like, don't throw your pearls to the swine, basically. She keeps her thoughts to herself, but she shares them in songs in a way that is healing. And she doesn't just say something to say something. it's why people can understand and relate to it, and then it gives them insight and healing. She really saves her best pearls of wisdom for the right time, and I really love that. And I think in her Vogue 73 questions, or how many ever questions, she said that her superpower would be healing, and I think actually that really is her superpower, through her songs. And Taylor also talked about her songs changing from writing something to a specific person, e.g. Drew or John.
Have you ever regretted writing a song about one of your exes?
Never.
Never, ever, ever?
No, because you don't write a song about them unless you know that you don't really want to know them anymore.
If guys don't want me to write bad songs about them, then they shouldn't do bad things.
I like writing songs about douchebags who cheat on me, but I'm not going to say that in my monologue.
Have you ever written a song that was so mean you couldn't release it?
No, I just put those on my albums. Okay. They never go into this and be like, I really want to ask you out. Could you not write songs about us? They say that when we're breaking up, and they're like, you better not write a song about this. And I'm like, oh, I won't. And then I do.
To really challenging herself to write stories woven together from a few perspectives and with different storylines.
That was how I pictured myself when I was writing folklore. And then I was like, you know, maybe I should do some other things different on this album. Maybe I should try creating characters and having these characters fall in love and break up. And one of my favorite characters that I created is, I call it the teenage love triangle.
And I also saw another Swiftie mention, and this is something that really resonated with me, is that now we don't just listen to Taylor songs because, oh, who is this going to be about? What is the tea? Like, we don't know when we press play on a song, like, is this going to be about Taylor's own experience? Is this going to be about something going on in the world? Is this going to be like just a story that she made up, like that she came up with? Is it going to be just something completely different than we expected? Like, and that's so exciting. And I think we can all agree that she's very successful in just writing from different perspectives and storylines. I mean, we all know folklore and Evermore are about specific people, like they aren't just made up stories, but I mean, they are in story format, but I think there's a lot of herself in that. Anyway, I don't want to do paternity testing. Yeah, and I think that her songs have gotten a lot more complex since folklore, especially, and I do think a lot of it is still very autobiographical. And she said that she hopes her writing doesn't change in that way, because it's an amazing way of writing, and I agree. She's just gotten better and better. But it's insane looking back at her older songs how good she already was. She just continues to build her skills. Like, just even back in the debut era, her skill and her talent was already there. Like, I Will Point to Cold As You, oh my word. A 14 to 15-year-old wrote that. It's insane. Go listen to Cold As You right now. It's so slept on. And then obviously she also explained Clara Bow in detail, like how it's from the perspective of like the music industry or a music industry exec trying to convince the next young girl that she will be the next Taylor Swift. And that she was like the one being convinced that she was like the next Stevie Nicks. I love this detail because, I mean, we knew that it was kind of the perspective, but it shed some light on who exactly is kind of narrating this. It's like not the fans, but like kind of the industry and kind of Taylor, but it makes sense. And that song just hits me so hard every single time, and I feel like it's very cautionary. It does make you think twice about putting yourself out there, especially as an artist. But she's also like, somewhere in the interview, she's like, even though the industry is like this, to her, it's still fun. Like, I'm married to the hustle. And you can tell that she loves it. And I think Taylor is a prime example of someone who has the right kind of attitude towards it. Most other artists get sucked in so much that they just lose themselves. And Taylor has only grown. I apologize for the noise in the background. Taylor has only grown and made things better and become more herself. And I love that. She's actually always stood on her values, her rights, and never really compromised herself to the lower standards of the industry as far as we can tell, and I really don't think that she has. I listen to Taylor and I value her because I feel like her standards have always been high, and she is still a good role model and teaches many lessons about not conforming but standing out because she has these values. And she has always been pretty modest, and her songs have, in my opinion, always been very classy. Even if there is some like swearing or like explicit content, like it's always done in a classy way, and I really value that in today's day and age. Yeah, and of course there are songs that don't maybe strongly align with like some of my values, but I feel like all in all, Taylor is unique in Hollywood, and she shows that you don't have to do disgusting things or be vulgar or have disgusting lyrics to be successful. And everyone in the industry can definitely learn from that. She keeps it classy. Keep it classy on the land. Anyway, I also just really feel so sad for her that at 22, which is still a baby, she was literally feeling like washed up and old because of the industry. And that's why she wrote Nothing New. And that's what she talked about here, like, even though it was just the beginning for her, and that's literally crazy if you think about it, and so sad. Like, you literally don't know anything at 22. Your life is just beginning. And I think that's why she's saying, like, how can you know everything at 18? Because she said, like, at 18, when Fearless was happening and everything, she just felt like she'd made it. And now all of a sudden everybody was turning on her at, like, 22. And I think seeing her grow into who she is now is just such an amazing, inspirational journey. And, like, she didn't let that really get to her. She's like, the entertainment industry really tends to pack on the years way early and pretend like you're old, like, way before your time. And it's so unnecessary. Like ingenues and child prodigies are really such a thing that it makes everyone else feel behind. And really there's no reason for it, because a lot of us take a lot of time to mature, and I think you should really take your time because you build up wisdom as you get older. And being older is a privilege. And yeah, I think the world makes it look the other way, but it's really not. I love getting older. Like, it's scary to lose your youth as a woman, but I think that's if you view it from the perspective of, like, how the world sees it. But yeah, I think when I was younger myself and I wanted to make it and whatever, I was always jealous of what everybody else was doing and achieving. But now that I'm 29, I'm like, I'm not even ready now. Like, I'm too young, you know? So yeah, I think just thinking that she was 22 when she felt like that, that's insane. Like, but I think she really realized that it's not true, because now at 36 she looks so young and vibrant and happy, and she's just like enjoying her life. And you can do that at any age, but I think she really just stepped back into her youth, kind of. And it's amazing to see, and it's amazing, like, all of these candidates we're getting the past few days. I mean, it's just been like a week of just Taylor out and about in New York. Oh, I haven't even touched on that, because the outfits, oh my gosh, she looks absolutely stunning and gorgeous and amazing, and just wow. The most recent one was like her and Travis going to a wedding. Wow, they're just, oh my gosh. But like, yeah, she just looks so happy, and she also has this face in all of these photos, like looking directly at the camera, like she knows something that we don't, something is coming, like what is going on? Anyway, I don't know, but yeah, she's just enjoying life now, and I really love that. And I don't think that she feels the same way that she felt when she wrote Nothing New, but it's so relatable, because we will get those days when we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting older, life is slipping away, like I haven't achieved anything, and like, yeah, I think the pressure on her is so much more than most of us can even understand. But still, like, I think she got a lot of wisdom. Like, the difference between 22 and Clara Bow, oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, I think she just accepted that, you know, you're never going to get it right in the entertainment industry. You just have to keep putting yourself out there for the people that need it. She also acknowledged track 5s. She literally acknowledged everything except Evermore again. I love how she said she loves to keep all her hobbies near and dear to her, and even her songwriting, so it doesn't just feel like a job. I love that. That's really good advice, and I think that kind of draws on the speech that she gave for, I keep forgetting what it was, the iHearts, when she said that you should really cherish your craft for yourself, so that it doesn't feel like a job. But I mean, you can see it doesn't look like a job to her. It's her passion, and I don't think she ever gets tired of it.
But the entertainment industry, I'll tell you, there's 10 years for every year you're in it. But it's fun.
Yeah, I don't think it feels like a job to her most of the time. She's the happiest when she can do that, and I can relate to that, because we all have that one thing, like, we don't even need the money for this, like, we will just do that. She also mentioned that she really tries to know what are the things that are special between her and her fans, and why she keeps connecting with us, and that's really genius, and it's also really personable, and that's why we love her. And this is where she talked about sometimes it does get weird for her when fans are like doing paternity tests about songs, but then, as I said, I'm like, well, she kind of started it back in the day, so what are we supposed to do? Like, I try to be better about it, but I mean, if you are a Swiftie, chances are you are gonna wonder who a song is about and try to find out. I don't think she's mad about it, to be honest, but maybe she is at a point where she kind of does regret giving so much detail and wants more privacy around it, and like, we need to respect that. And like she said, she wrote the song, not that dude, and I love that so much. And I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I do really try to focus on what the song is about, her lyricism and talent, instead of her personal life, because that verges on gossip. I mean, I guess I do fail sometimes, but it's very easy to get caught up in that, especially with like Tortured Poets. That was huge. That was a huge one. But now we know who this album is about. Like, there's no denying it. But yeah, I mean, if she's bringing it up so much, then maybe she does want us to let it go a little. I'm just saying. So I will try. And then the interview ended with her talking about criticism being fuel for songs, and that new artists shouldn't worry about their comments, they should be writing. I think I mentioned that earlier, and I love that. Yeah, my takeaway from this interview is that Taylor is, at this point, absolutely a legend in the industry who has a very solid formula for her songs, and because of that can explore with it and will keep producing music that is always unique but has that Taylor Swift essence. She's an amazing storyteller. She has so much wisdom and advice to offer, and I would love to be able to sit down with her or be in a songwriting session with her in order to just learn from her. But how I would take that in, I have no idea, because I would just be like, it's Taylor Swift. I think she's been around so long now that she's built up her own voice, and holds her own in, like her power, and holds her own in the music industry. She just proves again and again that she's one of the greats, a true living legend, and we are all lucky to witness this in real time, and we can learn so much from her. Even through her songs, she offers so many life lessons, and we really need to take them, and I wish that younger me had realized that and not just listened to them. Anyway, and she really does it because she wants people to heal from it and to process their emotions, and she isn't in it and has never been in it for the fame or the money. She handles that with grace and integrity and dignity, and she blesses others through it, and I love that. And she has just this profound gift of using it for good, and she has a profound gift as well. And I think Taylor is really just a ray of light in a very dark world that this generation really needed. I think she's truly someone who we can look up to for just as a true role model and an example. I think that because it's her passion, it's her drive, it flows from her, and she's naturally successful. Not because she just got lucky, or because she just worked so hard, or because she conned her way into it or whatever. It's because she has true talent and a gift, and she did work really, really hard, and she had a lot of perseverance, but it's because of her talent. And that is really something to admire in today's day and age, and for that reason I will always support her, because she has something that I think a lot of people in Hollywood and a lot of people in general just lack. She's got authenticity, a very strong moral, ethical, and just structure and values, and she stands by that, and she handles herself with class and dignity, and she always shows up. She's kind, and everyone who works with her and has met her can attest to it, and she isn't there for selfish gain, but because she is an artist who needs to share her art with the world to help them heal, and that's her purpose, and she knows it. And even if it comes with self-sacrifice, and that's the whole thing, and that's why she's Taylor Swift, and that's why she's one of the greatest living songwriters ever, and my personal favorite ever, period. So that's it for this video, you guys. That was a long one, and I love talking about this. So we got so much insight from the short interview. I always love to hear about Taylor's songwriting process. See you guys soon.